Okay, so let me bring up the report here. So I have a hard time judging how long these things take. Generally about 30 minutes, but could be a little longer. I know you said a little bit that we chatted. You have a lot. It seems like you have pretty good experience with SEO. But what I took is it's more if you're buying links and buying traffic, that still may work a bit. But so many people I've worked with are getting hammered by that and are having to disavow link after link after link, getting penalized. And as you probably know, penalties can take months, if not years, to recover from. So I would not do that. I would start disavowing all of those spammy links. You could even test it out. Let's say you have 1,000 backlinks. You could do 100 and wait a month, see if that affects your rankings. I don't think it will, but either way, I would move away from those. Excuse me. So let me dig in. So a lot of this, I'm hoping it'll be new to you. If you said you haven't, you're kind of, I think you said overwhelmed or lost, or you don't know what you're doing anymore. Which, if you haven't really done much SEO in the past 5 to 10 years, it is a lot different, and a lot of people find it frustrating because it does require a lot of legwork. But we'll get into all that, and let's go ahead and start. So I like to start by not disproving, but explaining quite a few misconceptions. There's a lot of factors. I think Google says there's over 150 or 200 factors that affect rankings, but according to them, there's 3 main factors. So we got content, we got metadata, schema, metadata, meta descriptions, and that kind of thing, and we got performance. And I'm going to send you this report so you'll have all this. I guess it's more of my notes. So those are the top 3 things to focus on, and I mean, there's tons more, and we're totally going to get into a lot more stuff. But if that's what they say are the top 3 factors, I take their word on it, and I think that's definitely what things you need to be focused on. So when I say do this, do that, do this, do that, nobody really knows. Google's algorithm is private. Everything I'm going to tell you is based on my personal experience, is based on reading things in message forums, is based on studies people have done, a lot of research. I think any person that does SEO these days will probably agree with 95% of it, but people have their own twists and takes on things. I'm definitely not a keyword H1, sprinkle the keywords all over the place, the keyword stuffing things, and that actually does hurt you nowadays, or it will start to hurt you. So some people might emphasize that more, and we'll get into that a little bit, like word count in your posts, even though they say these things don't matter. But of course keywords matter because that's how they Google things. But the problem is with all the deep learning and all the AI. So if you search for cat food 10 years ago, if you had a web page that said kitty food, it wouldn't show up, more than likely. Now it does show up because it's, or cat treats or whatever. So we'll get into all that. So I just want to make it clear. I will never remember to say in my opinion every time. But understand a lot of it is based on knowledge and experience. Outdated techniques don't work. We kind of covered that. There's no magical solutions anymore, and that's disappointing to a lot of people. But it takes a lot of legwork, and we'll get into all that. So, on-page SEO used to be the big thing. One second. I'm sorry. Put your proper headings and make sure you put your keyword in the first paragraph, and then long tail keywords, and then do all this. And some of that I believe in, some of it I don't, but a lot of it does not work anymore. Buying backlinks, PBNs, that kind of thing. I think it's called PBNs. Because I started this about 10 years ago, got out for about 5 years, came back into it, and I was like, wow, the mood has really changed. Got out for 2 more years, and then after that, about 3 years ago, I got back into it, and it's completely changing again. So you got to keep up with it. So the goal of SEO is to rank on top of Google search results, obviously, and the reason you do that is because you want to get more traffic and sell more stuff. So I like to think of SEO as you are optimizing your pages for search engines, but now SEO is doing a lot of digital marketing, a lot of content marketing stuff to help get people to your website so you can sell more things and get more eyeballs on what you have. Even with a lot of work, and you're not going to have to do everything in this. It would be impossible. It would take a team of X amount of people. But I rarely see any significant results shorter than 6 months. So the basic algorithm for SEO is you create good content that people want. That's one of Google's 3 factors. You promote it properly, whether it's paying for ads, whether it's just outreach, whatever, and you deliver it. Make sure it looks good, make sure it's quick, that kind of stuff. So we'll go on to performance, which is one of the main factors. You probably have one of the fastest websites I've worked with in quite a while, so there's not much to do there. The one thing on this web page, there's an image here. It's being served at 1920 by 1080. You could save 99% of the file size if you reduce it to here, which is what it's being displayed at. And good rule of thumb is you want your images to be under 100K. Now, that's not always possible, you know, product images and things like that. But, you know, if you use paint.net, and then you do, I mean, there's tools you can use, and I think I'll get into this more, you know, like optimize your IO, make sure it's lossy, not lossy-less. I get those words confused a lot. And then, or you can go into paint.net, open your image, save the JPG, and you can adjust the quality of it, like at 90%, 50%. And I usually get it to about 50% and don't notice any quality, and it generally reduces the size by about 10 times. So I definitely would do that, even though you're not having performance problems, but it's something to keep maybe with some of the other sites you work on. I would look into a CDN like Cloudflare. I don't think you use CDN. I probably should have double-checked that. But sometimes it actually makes websites slower, but definitely look into that. And I can't get into specifics on all these topics because honestly, this presentation could take an entire day, and I'd like to keep it to a reasonable time. Let me make sure okay, I'm recording. Okay, sorry, but give me one moment. Putting my phone on Do Not Disturb. Okay. Also, JavaScript minification, things like that. Okay, hold on one second. I'm sorry. Of course, my phone is acting slow. Okay. So this is just another technical thing with JavaScript minification. I found there were looks like there's 3 style sheets, some JavaScript that weren't minified. Don't need to get into the details of that, but just have a developer look into that. I think everything was deferred properly, so you don't need to worry about that. But again, your website performs fine, so you may not even want to worry with this stuff. Metadata schema, it looks good. I ran a few of your pages through Google Schema Checker. It looks good. Let me see what these things are. There were a few errors. Not errors. I think there was a few. Whoops. Okay, these additional type schema. I'm not an expert on schema. I know enough to like get through things. Are these called attributes or whatever? I don't think these are. I don't think these are additional type attributes. Just look into that. I'm not 100% sure. And so what schema is, it's if you have a recipe. You might know this, and you post it. So Google can index it and understand the text. But let's say you use the word chocolate. You want to say that is a recipe schema type, and that's an ingredient. So instead of Google might think that's chocolate the movie. So it gives some context to what the page is about. Now also, if you search for these, you want to get up here at top, and these web pages more than likely have schema to say it's a recipe. And they've implemented the rating schema. That's why you see these. And people click on this stuff more. And sometimes you'll see the recipe steps up top. You know, boil water, blah, blah, blah. That's probably because they have recipe schema and configured on their website. And I may not be using these terms totally 100% properly, but you get the idea. This is another thing. And again, that first one may not even be wrong. It just didn't look right to me. But I'm not an expert. What am I doing? Put it up here. Oh, I think I think the brackets should not be there. Again, I probably should have verified it with other ones that I've worked on. I meant to go back to it, but just verify that that's correct. Oh, there's other. You can click on. There's other types of schema that aren't being implemented, like author schema types and video for video marketing schema videos that you could use for marketing schema types. Just look into those. I think this might be Screaming Frog stuff. I did it again. Yeah, Screaming Frog, a lot of your meta descriptions are blank. Now, doesn't matter if it's JPEG or JavaScript, but see, these looks like to be documents. I mean, I could dig there, and I can't scroll down and show you. Actually, I can do this. I always misspell your website. So it takes you have a ton of pages, which is not a problem, but so it takes a while to load. Some of these titles are blank. You need to look into these. I think that that's CSS. H1s, I don't worry about that stuff. H2s, I don't worry about that stuff. Text length. So let me just get back to it. I don't want to go off on too many tangents. Basically, just check these. These are CSS. My bad. So don't worry about those. But you just want to make sure you have all your meta descriptions filled out, and also content length. There's been a ton of research on that, and generally the longer, I mean, not 10,000 characters. You generally want to have your content to be at least 400 characters per page, 400 words per page. Generally, whatever your competitor's doing, I would rewrite the content by about 10 to 20% longer, and a lot of times you'll just outrank them doing something that basic. So let's go ahead and go back. Looks like you had. I keep doing that. Whoop! I did it again. Now, keyword cannibalization is if you're using a lot of the same, if many of your pages have the same content on them, and so Google, you're competing with yourself in the Google search result rankings. So if you look, these have the exact same meta description. So you just want to go through your documents and make sure none of these have them. You can do this by doing site:website.com, and this shows you all the sites that Google has indexed, and make sure that you don't have any of that cannibalization going. Now, also, I noticed not all of these, I don't think, have meta descriptions, and so Google's deciding what to put here as a little snippet or sniplet. You don't want Google to do that. You want to do it yourself, so you can make sure it's a description that makes people intrigued about the post, and they will be more likely to click on it. Okay. Yeah, meta description's accurate. Okay, so this is another thing that popped up. It looked like some of these, and I thought I did a print screen of this. Look, so I thought of some of these. Okay, maybe not. I could have sworn some of these snippets weren't coinciding with the titles. Maybe I'm wrong, so sorry about that. Well, let's see. Maybe let's go here. I don't know why the print screen's not coming up. But so basically just look into that. Okay, I gave the chocolate example on the schema. Okay, this you do want to do like local business schema. I know you probably looks like you're an enterprise and you don't do just people in the local area, obviously. But just look into these other schema types. Logo missing in article schema. So just go into your schema. It looks like the logo is missing for your article schema types. So I would just add that. Again, a lot of these aren't big deals. It's just every little bit helps. If there's like 200 ranking factors, if you fix 100 of them, it'll boost you up. But this alone isn't going to make a difference. The things above aren't going to make a difference. So the big thing, content is huge now. So what you need to do, I saw you have a blog, but you don't update it frequently. So if I were you, I would start doing articles once a week. And until you get a lot of content up there, then you can move back to once a month. So you're probably wondering how to come up with good topics. You basically just want to write content that is related to your business, obviously. It doesn't have to be about your business, but content like, you do a B2B appointment setting. So we can just do basically anything related to B2B. Now, you know how you type St. Louis Cardinals and this stuff auto-suggest pops up? What this does, this finds out what auto-suggest topics are related to B2B. So you can click on these circle graphs and zoom in. I just go to data. And this will give you a ton of content ideas because this is what people are actually searching on. What are B2B companies? That's basic, but people are searching for it. So after you find Can you sell B2B? How is B2B different from B2C? That's interesting. I mean, it's business to business, business to consumer, but a lot of people don't know that. How B2B marketing works, that would be relevant. So if you get that, you go here. I would do this, how B2B marketing works, and see what's showing up. My mouse bear didn't pop up. Okay, here we go. So you can see as a domain 30 or 48, that's not that strong. Now this one has a domain authority of 91. You could probably rank for this. So what I do, I go into these and I see how many words they have, and I just increase my word count by 10 to 20%. So you want to find websites that are answering your question but don't have high domain authority. See, this is 49. You could. I think this would be something you could get ranked pretty high for. Yeah, and this is called the Moz toolbar. It's an extension for Chrome. You can look into that. Okay, so if you ran a, if you were a psychologist, other interesting keyword things you could put in answer to the public would be mental health, DBT therapy, adult therapy. Other places you can use to get interesting ideas, more so keyword sheeter, and not so much eBursSuggest. This is more of a keyword thing. These are more of getting ideas. And you definitely want to do a niche, or whatever you want to call it. People say it differently. It's going to be very hard to rank for B2B business appointment setting. Not impossible, but so like let's say you're selling hotel rooms. Watch hotel room commercials, the hotel rooms for busy executives, hotel rooms for traveling moms, even though I don't think that's a real thing, but whatever. I would do like B2B appointment setting for tech executives, things like that. That's huge. You can rank for that. Doesn't mean you can't sell the other stuff, but create a landing page for that and get them in the door. I would, see, like I said, see what your competitors are doing. I have them listed down there. I think it's like Blue Zebra or something. And see what's working for them. Find out what blog articles have a lot of comments. You can use tools, Ahrefs and SEMrush to find out their popular links and find the links to them. Reach out to those people that are linking to them. Write better content and ask them to link to your content. But if you want to outrank them for what they're writing, look at their content, do it better, and then increase the word count by a little bit. If it's appropriate. You don't want to write 10,000 words to write 10,000 words. You know, it has to seem natural. And then what I do, obviously keywords matter, but you want it to sound natural. So what I do is I take the keywords I'm working with, and I add them about 20% more than normal, but it still should flow smoothly. Internal, external links are huge. You do have internal links. You don't have a lot of external links. Definitely link to references, reference guides, whatever. Definitely want to have that. That basically tells Google and other search engines that you're a part of the web community and you want to connect and you want to help people find resources. Now, I would not link to my competitors, but I would link to definitely external links. Okay, an example I have for doing upsells, I think this should have been lowered down in the notes here, is you want people to, like an example is I was searching for the other day, I was getting a blue screen of death on, I don't remember what it said, let's just say it said memory 55 error. I found the result. It gave me all these ideas, and at the bottom it said, so it was great content, but it said, if this doesn't help, we can help you. Buy our software. And that's a great upsell, so you can apply that to your business. Any content I write, I run it through Grammarly and then through Hemingway Editor. By the time I do those, I normally have content that doesn't have any grammatical or spelling errors, because Google, they've said they do take spelling and grammar into account nowadays. There is a paid Grammarly product. I think it's like $150 a year. I used to do it, but I think the free version checks at about 80% of it, and I don't know if that's true. It checks it does some good basic grammar and spell checking, sentence structure, that type of thing. Once you do have content, after you have a lot of content build up, about one piece of content per week. I do it once a day because I have tons of content on the websites I work with. I just go make a few changes and update it. That way, when Google searches your site again, they'll go, oh, okay, this is updated today, so it's fresh. It's not 10 years old. Now, Google still displays the post date in the search results for the most part, not the modified date. I mean, you can play with that. You can modify that, but it looks like you're trying to trick Google, and I wouldn't do that. But under the covers, it shows that you're keeping things fresh. And if you don't have time to do content, hire somebody on Fiverr or the different place overseas. They work at a real cheap rate. But I would do one piece of content per week. And then once you get a lot of content, then you can shift back to once a month. But the key is you want to do it, we think, regularly. If you think you're going to do it once a week, do it once a week. Don't go down to once a week, once every 3 weeks, once every 2 months. And I can't prove that, but that seems to work. And flesh score, this basically you just want to write like you're writing to a 10th grader. Now, yours, it might be a little different because of your industry, but basically you can put your text into here and it'll tell you what your flush rating is. And Google does look for this kind of stuff. Now, there's a tool, emotional headlines, advertising. People, and I know you probably have a big marketing department there. People respond to emotional headlines. You can put your post headlines in here and it'll tell you if it's good or not, and it'll help you write a better headline. I think it's overkill, but just throwing it out there. Sitemaps not indexed. I don't think that's true. But for some reason, I think it's the Varvy. Was it the Varvy test I did? Oh, Screaming Frog. Sitemap XML non-indexable, no index for Sitemap XML. So you want to look into that. I don't think that's true because a lot of your content shows up in Google when you use the site operator. But just look into that. I believe a lot of your websites do not, and they aren't redirects, but they're not found. Like the Mars Incorporated, there's another one for F-Secure, I think. Look into that, find out why that's. You definitely want to have everything indexed. Just verify these things. I mean, these tools aren't perfect. I can't imagine it would mess this up, but there might be another explanation. Now, there's a bunch of tools you can do. Audits, SEO audits, like SEO Checkup, WooRank, and they're good, you know what I mean? But take them with a grain of salt. It'll tell you stuff like you have underscores in your headlines. Nobody cares about that in your topics. So take them with a grain of salt. I saw you guys are very active on Facebook and Twitter, and that's good. But I would focus more on the content that you will be posting that people want. So, for example, like those topics we discussed earlier from Answer the Public, that's the kind of stuff that gets shared. You know what I mean? I would focus on that. Stuff that's interesting, not posting stuff just to post stuff. Then after you get a lot of evergreen content or stuff that's reusable a year from now, you can repost everything because by the time a year rolls around, people will forget about the content you posted a year previously. I would follow leaders in your industry and find people who are commenting on their tweets. This is huge. Follow them so they'll follow you. And I mean, you can follow all their followers, but you want to target the ones that are active. And hopefully they'll comment on yours because Google does use social signals. I think they've said that publicly. So and this is all to make money, right? This is all to make sales. So all this stuff leads to more traffic. The more traffic you have, the more likely your products and services will appear in the Google search results. So that's what a lot of this traffic is for. You don't want to be a content site. That's not the point. The point is to have good content to bring people to your site, to upsell them. And even if they never do anything with the upsells, the more traffic you have going to your site, the more likely it is that your products and services will appear at the top of Google search results. And then after you follow people, after a while, you can unfollow them. They might unfollow you back, but that's the big technique. I love ads on Facebook. I think you said they're not useful for you, but I don't know. I don't know if you're targeting relevant people, like people who have expressed interest in B2B, stuff like that. And then one thing people don't do, once they like your boosted post or they like your page, make sure you invite them to your page. A lot of people don't follow up and do that. That's a huge thing. And again, the more followers you have, more people that like your page, that's a good social signal. The higher your products and services will appear in the Google search result rankings, we hope. I was just thinking, like, the website seems very, like, corporate stiff. Companies like MailChimp and Arby's, they're very, like, funny. You might want to, do an A/B campaign and kind of test those types of things out. Now, that's marketing, whatever. That's just if you want to do it. I just wanted to throw that out there. Here's a lot of creative marketing ideas. Check these out. We've had a lot of success with doing a lot of these. I'm not going to go through them, but they are really good. Now, if you're a keyword hawk and you still want to play in the land of keyword stuffing and stuff like that, I don't remember what I pasted here, but we will have a look. Oh, this B2B appointment setting services has a lot of searches and the competition seems low, which is surprising to me. And you want to dig around in this and Ahrefs. I don't use Ahrefs or SEO or Quake or anything anymore. I just use mostly free services. The only thing I would want to use those for is competitive analysis, looking at competitors' ads. For keyword searches and stuff like that, there's a lot of free tools that do really good jobs. So just look into that. Oh, you must have researched these, so write blogs. So these are things that look like you could rank for. One of the things that came up to your blog was selling to schools. I guess that's something you're focusing on. I don't know, but I thought that was weird. But if that's accurate, ignore it. It looks like you've researched a lot of these. So I would write blog posts on them because you're familiar with these topics. Looks like buyers are using these keywords. This one looks like it's very searched highly, and there's not a lot of good search results for it. So just look into that. Now, these are your competitors. The keyword gap appears to be huge on the keywords you use versus the keywords they use. Research that. You can do that. You said use SEMrush. You can do that in there. Type in their URLs. These are also some of your competitors from what I could find. And find out what keywords you can do better with. And one thing I do, which a lot of people do, let's say you search for Burger King and your McDonald's. If you advertise for Burger King and your McDonald's, Burger King will appear above McDonald's most of the, I think all the time maybe, in the Google ranking. So people might click on yours before they even get to Google. So I would do some advertisements with blue zebra as a keyword. So somebody types blue zebra, your URL will show up above it. The competitor bounce rate appears to be, if what I see is accurate, about 35%. Find out what yours is. If it's worse, find out what you're doing wrong using all of these techniques. Find out what they're doing. Look at their blog. Look at what the pages that are doing well for them and duplicate it, but do it better. There's a lot of, you guys could do really good with competitive analysis. I don't think y'all are doing it much. I mean, there's no way for me to tell without being there. But based on some of the things that I saw comparing your site to these guys, I would look into that. What are your competitors doing on social media? So find out what they're doing. What tweets are getting buzz? Do those things. Do it better. Follow, invite. We talked about that. And actually engage with people on social media. Become an expert in your brand. Find out follow B2B experts on Twitter and engage in the comments. That's huge. Just having social media to have social media doesn't work anymore. You need to actually engage. You need to actually respond to people's requests. You need to actually make people remember who you are. Monitor the ads in SEMrush or Ahrefs. I think you can do it in both. And see what's working for them. They can actually pull up the ads that they are using and what's working. So just take those, modify, and make yours better. So you don't have to waste a lot of money on ads that may or may not work. How much are they spending? Do you want to spend more or less? Find all that out. You can do all that. Look at their blogs, write more or better, find backlinks to those blogs, and then follow that backlink and say, hey, I saw you have this post. Here's a better article for you if you want. And maybe offer them a backlink in return. Give them a reason to want to link to your content. Oh, if you don't want to pay for SEMrush, but I wrote this before I spoke to you, you can just get the trial. I think they have a trial. Get all this data, then cancel your account. You don't need to have it all the time. You can just do a massive data dump to spreadsheets and analyze it from there. Here's some good competitor information. Whoops. I would take time to read these links. There are a lot of techniques that I use, and they're very useful. And if SimilarWeb was right, the best keyword, the most used keyword getting to your site was lead qualification checklist. I would find out why that is, and why is it working, or if it's not working. So if a lot of people are searching to this, getting to your site with it, and you're not converting anything. Whoops, sorry. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. Just find out what's and it's basically improve it. If it's working good, that's fine. But a few aesthetic things. If you go here on your website, this kind of goes off the edge over here. I would look in that. At least I think it does. I mean, actually, it doesn't. Oh, you know what? I think I was looking at this. I thought this eye went off the edge, so not accurate. I really do like the phone link. Most people don't utilize that. We can click on it and it'll do a phone call. I wouldn't require a phone number. I think a lot of people have found out when you're getting leads, a lot of people don't want to talk on the phone and they don't want to be hassled. Don't require the phone number, and a lot of times you'll get more people to possibly give your pitch to. But then again, it doesn't always work out that way. I guess it depends on the industry. That's something to consider. Make sure all of your image names, a lot of your image names are like image5333 JPG. Google Images is a huge untapped resource for getting traffic. So I would make your alt tags and your file names correct. Hopefully your images show up on Google Images, and then from there people will click on the image and get to your website. Oh, here, there's just some topics in the page that aren't linked. I mean, this isn't going to affect your ranking, but it's just to make it look more professional. See here, a lot of these aren't linked down here. Definitely have live chat. That's huge nowadays. There's no reason not to have live chat, especially for a company that looks to be pretty big like the one you work for. I would put more case studies up front, especially with on the front page. That's big. Put more your customer references on the front page. People love testimonials. Put a couple testimonials on the front page. Now, especially if you have big clients like Coke or Budweiser or McDonald's or Adidas, put those on the front page. That's the first thing I look for when I'm determining if I want to buy a product or service. You know, I mean, anything's good, any even if it's not a huge company, but put, if possible, I saw a lot of your testimonials that just said generic stuff, but I would put the logos to these companies on the front if possible. Then link to so put the company logo, then if they click on it, it goes to a case study of what y'all did for that company. This stuff works, it's like magic. This stuff works really good. On your content, this is driving me nuts. I don't think. Oh, control click. Guess I should have figured that out. So like this is sales lead generation. I would put sales lead generation up here. Google can probably figure it out, but you don't want to write for Google as much anymore. You want to write for humans, but you still want to do write for Google, of course. A lot of times I think they say that because they want people to write more for humans, which is, of course you do, but you have to write for Google because humans aren't the ones indexing your website for the most part. There are content reviewers or whatever. So I would put up here, and then I would summarize what this is in the first paragraph here, definitely. And for some you do not do that. And then put the keyword up top, like basic stuff. We definitely have the landing pages for the niche clients. We talked about that. B2B appointment making for technology executives. Advertise the niche and continue. It works. Absolutely. Don't do what doesn't work. Then you can use UTM campaigns, A/B testing. Talk to your marketing department. Not going to get into that. I'm not an expert there. I know the basics to get around, but so H1, H2, using headers. Research shows that it works, but causation is not always correlation is not always causation. I think it's going to matter less and less. So if you want to use headers every other paragraph and put your keywords in the header, whatever. I don't think I don't waste time with it. There is a spacing issue here. Right here. See this? This has a lot of white space, a lot less than this one, so you just fix that. Again, that doesn't affect SEO, I don't think, but these are things I came across while I was looking through your website. I'm amazing and here's why. I would say, again, I would say I'm amazing and here's why. You generally don't want to start a sentence with and, but whatever, no big deal. So often I'll have a website and it looks fine to me and it looks fine with the people I'm working with, but other people come across it and it looks broken. How do I know that? Because I use tools like UserBob and Inspectlit. UserBob, you pay $20 for, or you can do more, $20 for 21-minute sessions. Basically, somebody comes to your website, they review it for a minute, and you can hear them talking out loud of what they think. You can direct them to go, okay, click here, what do you think? Or you can just say, give me what's your first impression. Now, you can do 5-minute sessions, whatever, but it costs more. But these are priceless. Because you can hear them talking out loud. Now, the side benefit is sometimes you'll see your website is broken to them, even though you would have never seen it because you don't have access to 8,000 computers with different web browser and operating system combinations. Now, Inspectlit is a free JavaScript that you can put on your web page. Slows it down a little bit, but what it does, you get 50 free per day. And so this is a website that I run. It's kind of my test website to test new technologies. It answers random questions. So you can see this person came from Google. This is what they searched for in Bing to get to my website. So basically what it is, somebody was on my website for 6 minutes, and this is them navigating my web page at 4 times the speed. So let me slow it down. So that's their mouse right there. You can see what they're clicking on. You can see what they're reading. You can see what doesn't work. Again, if the page is broken, you can see it. If they, If what you want them to click on they're not, then you can shift things around. Now you can use heat maps and all that stuff that comes with this tool, but that's a whole other topic. ReadyMobi, you can use browser link to do this testing yourself. Go ahead and look into that. It's free. Now they have paid accounts and stuff, but I don't need any. I would have a video hello welcome on your webpage. Google loves video, but again, people do too. I would trust somebody that I saw talking in a video and gave a 1-minute welcome. This is what we do. Thanks for visiting us on your homepage. Definitely. It's welcoming, and it also establishes trust. Also on your about pages, I think it would be cool. Maybe not so much. This is more for like apartments and doctor's offices, a virtual tour of your office spaces, and so people can kind of see, hey, what's going on? Wow, this is a lot of people that work here. This is very cool. I thought this was a five-person joint, so that's kind of cool. Building up trust. Okay, so you want to keep images generally under, we went over this a little bit. Keep your images over 100K if possible. That's irrelevant. Should have got rid of that. Sorry about that. Just make sure you're in Google My Business, Yelp, BBB, Yahoo Local, Bing Places. I know it looks like you have clients from all over the country, maybe all over the world, but you do want to have a presence, right? And I saw you do have Google reviews, but you don't respond to them. You need to respond to every review, positive or negative. Google says one of the top ranking factors of local SEO, even though I know you're not 100% local, is reviews. Definitely, I would offer all your clients like a 20% off. The next, you're not selling products, but some kind of, if you leave a review for us, we'll, give you a free consult for 30 minutes next time, or whatever you guys do. I don't know a lot about your sector. Backlinks still rule. Backlinks are great. I would not buy backlinks. You can do stuff like Google for Roundup. If you were in the mental health sector, you could do Roundup mental. You'd find websites where people have posted links to mental health. So in your example, you would do Roundup B2B, find link roundups for B2B and post your site there. All your niche directories, B2B directories. I guarantee you're not in 90% of the directories, free directories that are posted on the web. Get into all these. You may never get links for it, but they are backlinks. B2B submit site. This will have people that B2B websites where places that allow you to submit your site to it. So these are things you can search on. Your local directories, submit your directory to all the local, and make sure things are consistent, your hours, your address, that kind of stuff. Stay active in forums for your niche. I don't know why I have this here twice. Know what people in your business are talking about and become a leader, and that's a lot easier said than done. Find out where you can guest post at. So Google B2B Write for Us, or lead generation guest post, or lead generation write for us, whatever. And you can find websites that are B2B related, and the website says write for us on it. So they're looking to people to write for them. I think your business would be great for podcasts. You guys probably have a lot of very talented people. Why not have a podcast? Why not have a YouTube account? Do Q&As, do presentations, and if not, reach out to B2B podcasts. You could become interviewees. There's just so much you guys could do that I don't see you're doing right now. Now these are just a bunch of B2B podcasts I came across, 33 here. I think these were like the top 20. So just reach out to all these people. I mean, you have all this expertise. There's no reason it should be sitting in an office somewhere. Don't duplicate content. We talked about that. Definitely don't plagiarize. You will get dinged for that. So just look there. These tools aren't perfect, but they'll give you a good idea. I would have a free ebook. I don't know what B2B appointment scheduling is. I would say the 10 things you should know before hiring a B2B appointment agency, whatever the correct terminology is. Offer it free on your website. Maybe do a pop-in from the bottom right. I hate pop-ups, but the bottom right is pretty reasonable because they do work. And then that'll be added to your mailing list. That's the real point. Get people on your mailing list. And from there, you can, it's like free advertising, free marketing. And still the most effective way to market to people is through email lists. I would definitely do that. YouTube classes, we talked about that. Definitely use Google Analytics. That's a whole other topic. Google Search Console, make sure you're being indexed, make sure there's no errors, make sure there's no manual actions. If there is, make sure you go and correct them as soon as possible. Submit press releases. I don't think you guys have press releases. I mean, there's tons of places you could submit press releases. It just gets your name out there more, and it also creates backlinks. We talked about the Twitter follow back strategy, Facebook, we talked about that. Yeah, it's a lot to get to here. Almost done. Don't forget about Bing and actually Baidu, however you pronounce it in China, and Yandex in Russia. You may not be doing business in there, but there's somebody in Russia searching for B2B appointment scheduling tips. They go to your website. That's traffic. The more traffic you get, the more legitimate your website is, the higher it'll show up in Google search rankings when the people are trying to buy stuff. So Yandex is Russia. Baidu, I think it's Baidu is China. So just get in the international search engines. And Bing, submit to Bing. Now, once you go into Bing, you'll eventually get into Yahoo and DuckDuckGo, so you're not going to worry about those. It would be huge for you guys. Haro. It's Hire Reporter. Basically, journalists and news people are always writing stories. Always. On different topics. I'm sure people from the Wall Street Journal are writing stuff on business to business topics. So they say, hey, I'm writing a story on this. Are there any business-to-business experts out there? You guys are. Help them with the article, and they'll give you a backlink to your site. That would be huge for you guys. Search Twitter. Search Twitter for Facebook for people searching about B2B. What are they saying? Can you help them out? Can you link to your site? Are they looking for B2B services, trying to get information? Respond to them. Be active. What are they talking about? Engage, yeah. Offer a deal. Say, hey, if you want to work with us, we normally sell this service, and I know with you guys it's consulting, and it's going to be a lot more in depth than just offering a product. Offer them a deal, perhaps. Pay attention to trends. Like if it's National Pizza Day, I have articles on my websites like, where did pizza come from? I'll post an article and say, hey, this is a cool article on the history of pizza, and I get a ton of traffic from that. Now, yours would not be pizza related, obviously, but this is just one example. National Pizza Day. I have an article on, can presidents that have been impeached run for office again? Whether you like Trump or you don't like Trump, it's always in the news. I always, look for tags that are trending related to impeachment, and then I add to it. And then they're usually the top 4 or 5 tweets, like one from NBC News, one from Fox News, and there's a lot of comments on them. I leave a comment with a link to my website. I don't say it's my website, but I go, look, this is an interesting article on impeachment, because people are more likely to read the comments in an active tweet than just to look at tweets related to a trending hashtag. But you get the idea. Check for broken links. You do have broken links. Check for them. I think you use WordPress. I believe you do. There's a great plugin that'll do that for you daily. Google pays attention to these things. Just advertise. It works. You just got to know what doesn't work. Keep trying. A/B testing. UTM campaigns. We did that. Reddit and Quora are great places for advertising that are largely untapped, and they're pretty cheap. I would look into those. Now, this is a lot. I get that. This is what SEO is nowadays. It's not as easy as it once was. It's impossible to keep track of what's going on. The best way to stay on top of what's going on without going insane is a website called SEO Roundtable. I'm not affiliated with it, but what it does, I used to subscribe to like 10 different free newsletters from Search Engine Journal and Search Engine World, whatever they were. It's just too much. These people summarize the daily news articles, and especially tweets from Google, so you can see, oh, okay, now they're doing this. And generally, John Moo or the Google account will Google Twitter account will post something and answer questions that I've always wondered. I'm like, oh, okay, now I know that. Like, okay, it doesn't matter if you use 800 words or 1,200 words. Okay, now I officially know that, even though the research might say something else. So just do that. They summarize all these long articles. So you generally don't have to read the entire articles. And then and this is the official Google search account or Webmasters account. You want to know exactly what they're saying. And then John Moo is like one of the lead search guys at Google, all kinds of information. Every time they do a YouTube video, they have these Q&A series. You just got to stay on top, and it's not that hard. I spend 10 minutes a day on this. And then finally, I have a spreadsheet that I track my progress with. There's all these kind of audits and tracking tools from these tool companies, but they're useless, to be honest with you. So what this is, you can see this is my Alexa global ranking for this website. I used to do it once a week, but then I got to once a month, and I haven't really kept up with it as much just because I've been so busy. So it started off as the 10 millionth ranked website in the world, and then now it's down to about 2 million. So these are the Google backlinks that you have, Google clicks, Google Analytics users. How much is my website worth according to this algorithm? Of course, it doesn't really. It's not. It's probably was worth $5 here, and it's probably worth $5,000 here. But you just want to make sure the trend is going up, right? Don't really worry what the value is. Your Woo rank score, and now your one thing here, AdSense revenue, Moz rank, GT metric. This is big because if your GT metrics, are 98, 91, 98, 97. As long as they stay pretty similar, that's good. Now, if you get down right here and one day they're like 6350, something broke and you didn't know it, so you need to fix it. If you weren't doing these monthly reports or weekly reports, you would not know that, and your website can be broken. People are going to it and clicking the back button, and Google's going to kill you for that because now it looks like your website doesn't work or it's not a good website. Same thing with web page test. Like I did this for your website. See here, it's AAA. Load time is 3.3 seconds. That's great. People say it's really good to have it under 2 seconds, but I've never seen a web page that loads under 2 seconds. Anything under 5 is really good in my opinion. Your waterfall chart looks really good. There's not a straight line, which means things are loading more like in a stair-step fashion, which is good. This is the image I think I was talking about. I think. Taking a long time to load. It's probably really large. Check into that. What is this? Here's another image that's taking a long time to load. But your website loads so fast, so I wouldn't worry about it that much. But it wouldn't hurt. These are all 302 redirects. You can look into find out why these are happening. Looks like they're all external resources, so you could have just linked to HTTP when it needs to go to HTTPS. So no big deal. But overall, it looks really good, and I hope you find this useful. And feel free to follow up with any questions.